Kaslana account management. A Kaslana management account. Add earlier. Yes, the ads should be over. Okay. I wish Saloon was farmable. Man, that's a lot of crystals for a returnee login. Okay, friends account, updating this album 10 days into maintaining it. Fuhua's wife, Lumina Spy, Lumina Spy, currently level 87. Cool beans. Vanguard BP, right? So this would have been 6.0 battle pass. Started late in 6.0, that's fine. Yeah, that's as expected. Currently at 5 crystallum, and we'll end this patch between 10 or 19 if you buy BP. The main goal is Turg T for 3-piece. I think if you're managing the account and you want to put money into it for quality of life reasons, I think that's valid as long as you're able to afford it. And I'm guessing money's probably not an issue in your case. I think my experience with managing other accounts is that you want to spend as little money as possible. So I think Turg T with Knight would be the safe play. Hey, Deffy. Definitely pick up the card. I think pick up the card here. And then anything left over, you go for willpowers. Right? When will I manage your account? How much can you... How much can you... We'll talk about it offline, Deffy. I'm looking for sponsors, Deffy. I think in a low budget account here, go for the focus card because that has crystal value. And then I would personally go with willpowers. 346 days. Not too bad. Legacy account made back in 2.7, but the owner didn't play much until you started. Became friends with them. Started around 4.6. Their playtime remained inconsistent. Yeah. Okay, well, this is a really good for low budget, right? This is a slight, maybe like 2,000 more than my NA account. Ended up getting oh, that's rough. 330 from monthly pass, day 2, picking up this account. And she swiped to get her and had buyer's remorse. That's rough. That's rough. Future plans. Monthly pass, yes. Battle pass, not sure. Top-ups, no. I think if you are managing the account, I wouldn't even do monthly pass. I think I would just play it like turbo low budget and just do it with no monthly pass. I would even go so far as to say if you were to do money on an account under management, the battle pass for a whole season might get more long-term than the monthly card. Well, it's situational, right? Depends on what's on the banner or what's available on battle pass. But I would caution even doing monthly card on this account. I would really decide what the goal is for the account if you are doing it under management. Is the goal to get it to a playable state for your friend to pick up again as a low budget player? Or are you trying to see how far you can go in a low budget, like, or base nearly free to play situation? I think both methods are valid. And I think if you are committed to putting any kind of money into it, I think monthly pass and battle pass, monthly card and battle pass together would be smooth. How far can you go low budget? Yeah. I think if you want to see just to test like how low budget you can play, I think I would even just cut out monthly card. Maybe wait for this one to finish out and then see like I mean if you feel like monthly card is still comfortable enough, I think that's fair. I think that's fair to stick with that. And then, situationally, if there's a good deal on a battle pass and you feel like the stigmata is worthwhile or the battle suit unlock is worthwhile, then, that you can probably justify as well. 17% MA last buff mode for both triple S bosses. Yeah, I think that's reasonable given the context of the state of the account state, right? Plus, you're probably also not trying to min-max too hard because it is an account under management. Future goal comfortable 7, eventually 2%. I think this is doable, but I think the time horizon, especially for 2% and T100, is probably at minimum 1 year of managing the account, right? It's going to take you at least 8 months to a year, depending on how much money you're willing to top up and how lucky you get on the gacha. Clawing out a sinful, yeah. Currently in Agony 2. I think the account should have no problem all the way up to Red Lotus. And maybe in Red Lotus, you'll probably be able to outskill your way, but maybe not have enough gear to top 3 depending on the cycle. I think comfortably retaining shouldn't be an issue once you get there, once you get enough trophies. Because I think for where the account is, I think your game knowledge should just be able to carry for that. Nice. Nice. Oh, this time is a little bit rough, but I guess HFS is probably the strongest battlesuit here to do it with. I'm sure you've already figured out ways to resolve ER. I'm not gonna comment too much of that. I wouldn't worry about elves until maybe a future mid-autumn patch where you can maybe try to snipe Blade to Randall 2 stars. But I think if you want to stick to the goal of 2% with just Jingweis and Blood Embrace, I think that's definitely doable for Red Lotus and 2%. Hopefully, by next year, we'll at least have, 3-star old generation elves farmable. Hopefully. Because I feel like if they do make Saloon and Fushi farmable, you could justify going out of your way to farm that on the side, right? Like if they do like Asterite for fragments or like a new currency or something. But until that happens, I think sticking with Jingweis and Blood Embrace for a turbo low budget account makes perfect sense. The rest of the account state, I feel like you've already probably evaluated at least once. I think the latest decision that we've all reached consensus on is that Night Moonbeam is no longer required for triple S. You don't need triple S Night Moonbeam, so maybe double S for the Dorm buffs. And I think with HOV, she's probably way low priority as far as everything else legacy wise is concerned. 6.2, this account will get a nice boost from the free HOT. And then you're already working on Lightning Empress, so nothing too crazy here. I feel like you already kind of know, like, okay, yeah, get Black Nucleus later on, blah, blah, blah. HOR S1, and then on the way to S2, I think, right? Let's see here. Vermilion Knight. Yeah, Vermilion Knight is just kind of slow farm tier. Uh, I feel like most of this stuff you already know. You already have an idea of like what your personal priority is regarding this. Yeah, I kind of agree with what Defi's saying. I personally feel like Battle Pass will get you more value even if you do Knight, especially when trying to power spike an older account. I feel like Knight, even if it's just Knight, getting access to the stigmata and the weapons that you're missing um can definitely jump jumpstart the account a little bit further. But the counterpoint, the counter argument to say going with monthly card is that monthly card allows you to get new stuff, which is exactly what Swim the Tricycle is saying. Yeah, that's also a good point, Defi. It's like if you're not regular on your daily logins, um, then you're losing crystal value. But when you look at managing a low budget account, you can't really afford to miss your crystals from dailies, you know? Yeah, how many times have you gotten your 15-day bonus offset, Defi, from forgetting to log in? Because that's a good cautionary tale for players that are buying monthly card. Have you decided if you wanted to rebuild some of the old meta stuff on this account, Kaslana? I think HF is comfortable, right? HF is enough to carry a lot of content on this account. But is old meta DPS worth it? Generally, no. I personally don't think so. Because you already have HOS, right? You have HOS, so Night Squire doesn't make as much sense. Having Hawk of the Fog is kind of like because this is already done, this is nice to use. The rest you can slow farm later on in the if the time horizon goes long enough. Ooh, Spina. Do you got Thales TM on this account? Fallen Rosemary probably. Well, this account you did say have Nyx, right? So Nyx would definitely be a heavy carry on this account. Only M. Hard to justify going back to farming for a Thales T, but Thales T would be nice to have. I don't think it's worthwhile though. Especially not because it's again low budget account, you have to be very cautious with your fuel spending. I think no Spino weapon you can kind of work around at least on the way to Red Lotus. Like any weapon that has total damage, you can pretty much just throw on and use as a stat stick, right? What are my thoughts on FR? I think FR is important, but because you've already stated that this account has Nyx, I think you run with Nyx for your quantum solution. Uh, with the Yais, this is gonna be okay. Right now it's just really not convenient farming the old A ranks. I feel like if if players weren't rushed to 80 and we had longer time horizons to say, hey, while you're working on this and that, you can farm this and that, like the old A ranks, blah blah blah. But nowadays it's not even. It's really hard to justify going back for this stuff. Memento will get slow farmed. Serenade will get slow farmed. Sleeping Beauty. I feel like if this account doesn't have whispers, you can get mileage out of Fervent Tempo. I just don't know if the weapon will be worth the materials in terms of primats. I think she'll still be fine for Red Lotus, so whether or not you decide to pry-arm this kind of depends on how much surplus materials you still have. Let's see here. Nyx, right? Nyx is the key here. Yeah, everything else is kind of like Scuff City, but that's okay. I completely understand it. Missing Zen Yi. That's a little bit hurt. Pain. A little bit pain not having full Zen Yi, but that's okay. Yeah. Damn. It's okay. Cerulean Flare, though. Ah, okay. Triple S, but no Oslog. Yeah, I don't know. After Ichan, I don't know if you'll be using Midnight Absinthe that much outside of Fire Tank. And then Carol. I think Carol should definitely be on the priority list to rank up. Triple S Pardo is excellent to see. I think Eden will probably want Triple S. I think right now, actually, your Lightning team might go something along the lines of like Fischl, Eden, Pardo, or Fischl, Eden, Hawk of the Fog. Griseo with Fireworks. This is kind of fun to see, but also a little bit like it's a little sad to see. I definitely feel like Griseo needs prioritization as well, but after Eden, right? I think I would probably go Eden because your Pardo is already triple S, so I would probably say like Eden, Griseo, Carol, and you can kind of swap back and forth between Carol and Griseo. I think the old style where you get both of them to double S also can work. Like Carol and Griseo both to double S is also working. Is also an option before picking one of the two to take all the way to triple S. Hey, at least you got the weapon. Okay, definitely think Piranha needs to get maxed. I think Flame Scion weapon is valid. Probably Sanguine for Nyx, but also I'm hesitant to commit fully to that. Hey, Lilith. This account has so many random weapons leveled. Alright, let's take a look. Okay, so I feel like if the account is not for collection, I think you save the Starlance and the Midnight, but you can convert the Alairs. I think this account, strangely enough, would benefit from having sleepers, even if it's only like a 50 sleepers, if you can spare the primats for it. Yeah, why is Surtur and KOV 50? Maybe back in 2.7, these weapons were relevant, you know? Back then. Back in the day, you know? Back in the day. At least you can use them in Elysian Realm. I'm feeling well, Lilith. We did get kind of screwed over on the alt account for gotcha, but main account actually went well. And now for the alt account, we're just kind of in a holding pattern until the Echoes banner. How do you get an account review? You got to get here early and redeem with channel points. Okay, Willow's nice. I guess slow farm the other pieces. Handle, good to have. Bastet, yeah. So I guess the gear situation is also kind of rough, right? It's like a little bit of everything, but not enough. Zen Yi from Firepower Supply. I probably would have skipped Firepower on this account. I personally probably would have done that. But you have Full Vern. That's actually really good. What's this website? Seems like too much work. This is Imgur. Literally took screenshots, but you can do the video format too. Milk! So Lilith, if you visit the account review channel in Discord, you can see some of the example videos, video format version. And the video format is really easy to record with OBS. Okay, so yeah, just getting the Turgenev top. I think the Turgenev top will be a huge boost for this account. Let's see. Turg M. So you actually managed to get 2 pieces from Firepower Supply. It's kind of nice, actually. But also, I feel like the individual pieces by themselves wouldn't have helped as much, right? But the flip side being, in the future, you might be able to complete the 2-piece or the set, which in the case of Turgenev, you're going to be able to complete the 3 set at the end of this Battle Pass season. Kafka and Poe. Yeah, I see what you mean. They're just being like a lot of random stuff. I feel like arguably Kafka a good placeholder for Fervent Tempo. And then you would run maybe Jingwei top or something, if depending on the, or you know, you whatever filler top piece. Damn. I'm guessing you already have a priority figured out for Foundry farming, because I feel like other than just getting new stuff, Foundry farming is probably where I would say to pick up all the gap and get some placeholder gear. But the account state is really weird in that you don't need too much placeholder gear, because you do have workable teams that you more or less already can just brute force through a lot of the content with. But it is just kind of awkward. You may have goofed Foundry. What did you end up building, Kaslana? Okay, a little bit unlucky on SOE, but 2 weeks to do it. I probably would have held off on pinions. I probably would have held off on pinions if you didn't have Feng Huang down the flower. I think Pledge of Sakura makes sense to unlock the lightning gene. You pulled Lightning Empress on standard. It's good if you only use Dorm cards, Lilith. Saving for future S rank. Yeah, I think saving for the next S rank is a good idea. I probably even saving the pity As far as 6.4, right? 6.3 if we get a Silverwing style banner, depending on who it is, but probably 6.4. That's where you can get a nice power spike for the account. Okay, yeah, so this is really good. I probably wouldn't pull any further. I probably should have followed that advice on my account. I probably should have just stopped after the first Nocturnal from my alt account. 68 until guaranteed elf. I think if you had more crystals to spend, or if you want to wait for a future elf rotation, I think Blade Durandal would be a solid all-around pickup. But aside from that, if you want to go back and stick to like Blood Embrace and Jingwei Wings only, I think that will allow you to preserve more crystals for actual gear and battle suits. A lot of S rank fragments still. Yo, still got these rank up stamps. That's crazy. I'd probably just wait on these because you need to find out if you can rank up Spina, if you can get Spina's weapon at some point, right? Otherwise, I'd probably put these towards Hersher of Thunder. Because you could probably get S3 Hersher of Thunder this way. You want Nyx? How many crystals have you saved up, Lilith? Nyx is in the spending shop. And probably in a future battle pass. Don't forget to spend these before Sunday. Spend your honor chips before Sunday. Asteroid goes to farming SP battle suits. I'm most of what I'm saying you probably already know, and I'm just kind of like validating your decisions regarding this particular account. Okay, good amount of cubes. Not as much Taurus though. So this is it's gonna be one of those situations where I think once you get more playtime on the account, you'll start to see more things coming together. Is there any particular weather that you notice the account kind of struggling on? Because I feel like between the game knowledge and the current state of the Abyss bracket that this account is in, sounds like everything should be kind of easy for you right now, Kaslana. Right. I feel like for as many things that the account is missing, I feel like this account still won't have any problems up even in Red Lotus. But I think the lack of inventory will definitely and you've probably already seen it in Memorial Arena, the lack of stuff and whatnot. And then you might not also have enough time to find it worthwhile to fine tune old meta strats with scuff gear, you know? So I think JSTTM, Beethoven MB, Beethoven B definitely, Beethoven MB, Tesla Band M, Tesla Band T situationally, because there's like a few instances where the consistency is more valuable than the candy. Gustav TM would be a nice to have, but I don't know how you would slot that in as far as scheduling goes. In a slightly older meta, I would have recommended Caravaggio, at least Caravaggio M, right? But you have Turgenev 3 sets, so Caravaggio's out the window. If Irene wasn't such a pain in the butt to farm because it's a G3, I would have said Irene TB would have been a nice placeholder surplus for Elemental. But I don't think it's worthwhile to do right now. I think finishing the G2s and or working on your G4s would take precedence. Yeah. Yeah, I really wish that they just make G3 farming less annoying. Yeah. Like, at most, Irene would have been like a G2.5, right? G2.5 at most, but... And I feel like Caravaggio should have been G1. But that's already, like, we can't do anything about it other than to voice our concerns on the feedback. Um, any recommendations? Keep asking for a Foundry rework. Plenty of stamps left to pick up. Yes, so all this is doable. So many missing. Yeah. I think I would go with Lightning Empress first. Lightning Empress first. Maybe Phoenix, but I don't think you really need Phoenix that urgently. After I would I just get Lightning Empress first, and after that you just pick any direction and go. Yeah, still have to max out. I think we went over this, right? Finish GD, and then these three you can kind of pick and choose. What does Lightning Empress do? So Lightning Empress being farmable means that once you get your free Hersher of Thunder, you can basically effectively get triple S leader skill for Hersher of Thunder, which is actually a significant damage boost. But Lightning Empress also has a very powerful leader skill for Memorial Arena, especially on the double S fights, which nowadays we only have one double S fight, but still really powerful for Lightning teams. Thinking about what you can salvage just to get over maxing these SP characters. Yeah, what can you salvage? Let's go back to the materials page. If you're not worried about the stockpile of phase shifters and whatnot, I think, well, you're out of advanced skill mats, but, like, maybe phase shifters you could shave a little here and there. SS Imaginons for sure. I think AE Imaginons you probably still want to keep some kind of a small stockpile of. But mostly Mind Stones, if you're not planning on getting the Gotcha Elves, right? Mind Stones is viable. Oh yeah, you do have some advanced skill mats. But yeah, I would probably trash the SS Imaginons for Asteroid to speed up the farming process. Man, I would just be very cautious about how much time you spend playing the account as far as min-maxing, as far as the fights go. Because it is really easy to burn out if you play multiple accounts over a sustained period of time. That being said, I think it is a really good check on your own knowledge playing a Scuff account compared to your main account. And right now, I think the biggest thing now is just like what will we see at 180 days after it's been under management, or like what will this account look like in 1 year's time? Yeah, 3 accounts is definitely, in my opinion, where I would draw the line, especially if you're doing full events. It's different when it's like you're only doing 2 to the max, and then the third one you're only doing like 1 or 2 events. Like either only daily logins or only event stages or only Abyss MA type of thing. Um yeah. Especially if there's other stuff that you got going on, either real life or other video games that you want to play, right? Yeah. I think this account is definitely salvageable though. And you've already done a great job doing so. Yeah, I think that's almost like a fallacy in a way, right? Because it's like if the account is under management, unless they're paying you for the high score, which is a very, very dark gray area in terms of the TOS, I don't think you should have any obligation to score high, whether or not the account is capable of it. That's my opinion, anyways. I think it's fine to score high if you're doing it as a favor for a friend who's like really busy and you know that they're capable of doing it on their own anyways. But if it was just like you had to do it under management for a sustained period of time, I would just do like one and done. Because that's how it ended up. Like when I was managing Echidona's account, um, it's pretty much just like one to five tries accounting for false starts because he was just taking a straight up just taking a break. It's like, okay, I can manage the account, no problem. But I'm not gonna. I'll do the events, but I'm not gonna push scores or anything. All right. I think that pretty much concludes this account review. What I would very much curious to see what it ends up looking like in about 100 half a year to a year. So maybe next mid autumn patch we'll revisit this. No, this is pretty normal length. Pretty normal length.